Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Okay. How about this? I'm on to something big. I know it with the script, The Foot Soldiers, but it ain't there yet. I talked to a guy who I'm looking to hire to be my director, and he says it ain't there yet. What I got to do is I got to add some more to go deep. I got to go deep. I got to add depth, D-E-P-T-H, to the script. And in particular, to the mentor and the mentee. So what I'm thinking is I got to do a few things in the movie. I first got to show you how much pain he's in losing his wife and his stepson. How much pain is he in losing his wife and his stepson? I got to write that in. See, he's got to tell somebody how much he's hurting. That's not there yet. I got to tell somebody how much he's hurting because he really, really wanted to raise another man. And he's 55 years old. He can't have kids. He don't want a younger wife. Or not, maybe he's too can't, but he's too old to want to have another kid. And he's yearning for that. And he also has a little bit of issue because his father died when he was 14 and he missed his dad. Now, he did have a man step into his life, but his father died when he was 14. I don't think he has an issue relating to people, but he has an issue maybe in knowing that he really wants to do something to help somebody, but he's kind of scared putting himself on the line. So also, I gotta add the point that because of the hurt that he has, losing his wife and his stepson, the way he lost them in a car accident, that his life kind of spirals out of control. And the spiraling out of control comes in the form of a drinking habit. I gotta develop him having this drinking habit. He controls it during the day, but when he's home alone in that house, and his wife was able to keep the house together, his wife was able to help keep it clean. He's not the neatest person no more. Really didn't know how to cook. So you see in his refrigerator, there's very little food. He's not a great cook. He's not eating well. He's always ordering food out in restaurants and things of that sort. Because she filled that void. She did the cooking around the house. But he is really going into a somewhat of a deep depression that he's able to mask. But his friend Philip knows that he's going through this, and his sister Cynthia can feel it. So I got to take him down kind of in a like say in the depression kind of stage. He wants to do this mentorship thing, but he's got this apprehension because of what happened to his son and how much he loved his son. The other thing that I have to do is I have to develop what is the mindset of Robert, the mentee. Why does he fight so much? Why is his temper so bad? I allude to that because of his father leaving him. And he has had a couple friends get beat up. So he takes the role of, I'm going to man up even more so. It ain't going to happen to me. And I'm not gay like my dad. So when you tease me about my father, I take it very personal. I gotta write more of that in. And I gotta write in why he is against this mentorship. I'm talking about Robert, the mentee. And mainly because he doesn't want to appear that he likes another man because of his father. So that's his deepness. I don't want to appear that way. I don't get close to a man in that regard because I don't want to appear like my father. Then what I have to do is show how both of them, first, the mentor is having this, well, the drinking problem doesn't stop the mentorship, but the lack of him wanting to, or put it another way, him having to overcome how losing his father really kind of hurt him in his life, was a void that he masked because his father died. There's things in his life that are lacking. How about that? His father didn't show him certain things, and he had to go out and get them otherwise. And he wished that he had gotten them with his father. And his father was really on the way of showing him things, but he fell short because he died not of any nothing but this normal illness. That was all it was. And I got to talk about my dad died because he had cancer, which could be the same cancer that James has. You know, it's hereditary in the family. How about that? So James is a little apprehensive about doing this. So the arc in his life is he goes through this low, deep depression part. He gets his coworker is pressing him about becoming a mentor, and he's like, no, man, I don't think that's for me. I might have to write a discussion between him and his friend. So I got to introduce another character. I'm not sure. Maybe it can just be telephone conversations. Or maybe he's just saying this, his friend is on him pretty hard. Maybe that'd be the way I go. I don't have to introduce another character. But he's reluctant to do it. And then after a while, he decides that, well, let me give it a try. And so he gives it a try by at least going to the meeting, but then he says, no, it ain't for me, I ain't gonna do it. Now he's got to get over Bubba, who's called him 4 or 5 times saying, come on, man, just come on down, you know, just check it out. And that's when he decides to. And then he runs into a mentee who's saying, hell no, I ain't got nothing, this ain't gonna work for me. So now he's got that hurdle because, okay, if you ain't in for it, I ain't in for it. But then there's something on his heart that says, hey, you need to do this. Something happens. And that's a scene I might have to write in. Something happens where he sees a buddy of his with another guy or something like that. I don't know what that's going to be. But something happens where he decides, let me just go ahead and check this program out. And so the depth of Robert is that, hey, I don't need nobody because my father is the kind of guy he is. And I can, you know, he told me to be the man, you know, be my own man, that kind of thing. And my father won't call me no more. I don't talk to him. And I wish I could. The other thing, and so the low, and then and so it doesn't go so smoothly between them. I got to examine that lack of smoothness where it doesn't just happen so easily. And a couple of times when it doesn't happen, James is like, oh, forget that. But then he catches him, you know, the mentee walking down the street. So I got to add more depth to this movie. And I think that's really all that's missing. And then the arc of it is they didn't connect. And because now James is so connected to Robert that he really feels that Robert has let him down. Robert is a person, but Robert is a project for James. It's like say that. Let's say like he's a project. I you know, it's something I want to do. You know, he takes out the humanistic thing. He's just like, it fulfills my personal goals. And the other thing that I know I need to explore is how Robert really wishes that this guy would leave him alone. Just leave me alone, man. And because I don't want to get close and appear like I'm close with some guy. That's that angle. And then when things do begin to go smoothly, they're doing things, and then Robert disappoints him, with being arrested and the knife and all that. And James just really explodes in that regard. Plus knowing that, oh man, we're not going to be able to see each other. Robert is okay with it. I got to explore that. Robert is like, well, oh well, no big deal. But on the inside, Robert is really saying, dang, I really wish that this would have continued. But so he's got to show, oh well, no big deal. And James is on the other end of the fence. You've disappointed me. And then and then we get into a fight and you hurt me. So I'm all right without it too. But I'm not all right without it because I need you. And then because Robert says to James, hey man, it's something about what Robert does to change James from drinking. Robert has to do that. There's something that has to happen, that Robert does something to make James stop drinking. I think and that's what changes James's life in that regard and uplifts him. There's something that Robert says to him, something that Robert does for him, or something like that. And I think if I do those things, if I show that depth of how how low James goes, how Robert doesn't want a man in his life because of his father and what his father is, how James fights. He knows he wants to do it, but he fights it. Something happens that brings them back together. And I gotta find out what that does. James has to say, I'm really missing him. Maybe he sees Robert or hears something about Robert. I don't know, but there's something that's got to happen for. It just can't be Bubba coming over to the house, say you want to meet him. It's got to be something that does that, but does not. But does not happen. Something that says, James, let's get back together, and then it does not happen. I got to figure that piece out. So if I can do that, I got the script. That's the movie. And then James does die at the end. I think people can relate to that, and they can feel that sorrow, and they can see Robert, who just said, "Okay, I never loved a man like you in my life," and there's already that line. So once I do that, I'm finished. And so my game is to had that written and done by this Friday. So, all right, that's it, people. I think I got it.